Hey boys and girls, it's Mrs. Bartell. All right, so today I watched the little instructional video that I linked for you. And in the video, they call this a partner. Oops, I spelled that wrong, guys. You would have caught me for sure. And this a partner. So a partner and you add another partner and they equal the total. So in our class, we've never referred to them as partner and partner. We've only referred to them as addend and addend. So when you add two addends together, you're going to get a total or a sum. Now, if you have a total and you take away one of your addends, you're going to get the other addend. Same with this. If you took 110, the total, and you take away 40, if you take this addend away, the answer is going to be this addend, 70. So this is math mountains, and it's like fact families, boys and girls, okay? It's like having, I'm just going to make a really simple problem right over here, 2 plus 3 equaling 5, okay? This is an addend. This is an addend, and together they equal the sum, okay, or the total. So if you take, and we can rewrite that a different way, right? Commutative property, okay, we can rewrite that. 3 plus 2 equals 5. So if we're doing subtraction, we're going to start with the big number, the one that was the total, right? And we're going to take away one of the addends, and that's going to equal the other addend, okay? So that, oops, it's going to equal 2. So that's what we're doing today, and this is pretty easy. There really shouldn't be too much problem solving. I'm going to walk you through kind of what I did. I looked at this, and I kind of already started. I didn't want to take time and go through the entire page on the video. But if you look here, all the work is done for you. What they want you to do here is go in and say whether it was a total or an addend. So boys and girls, the big number, right? And I think in our class, I equate this to daddy bear, mommy bear, and baby bear, right? Daddy bear is the big number, mommy bear is in the middle, and baby bear is the small, right? Okay, so you are going to have your total is the big number, okay? And then your two addends. So that's what you should have here. This is a total, and these are the two addends, okay? And I'm just going to go vertically here because they're putting the answer to the mathematical problem first on this side. So here we have a total and an addend and an addend. Now, the total here, because it's a subtraction problem, this starts the subtraction problem right here, the big number, right? So you have the answer being an addend, and then that answer is a result of this total minus this addend. And then once again here, you have your total, and when you subtract this addend, you're going to get this addend for a result, okay? So we have written our fact families like this in our class. Most of the time, though, boys and girls, we think of the equal sign on the right side of the equation, but it certainly can be on the left side because remember, this is like a balance beam, right? This side has to equal this side. It's like that teeter-totter. You can't have one person way up in the air and the other one on the bottom. They have to balance out. So it's like a scale or a teeter-totter or I think of it as a scale. They have to balance each other out, okay? So here we have addend plus an addend is a total. Addend plus an addend is a total. The total subtracting one of your addends equals the other addend. A total subtracting an addend is an addend. Okay, now right down here for this next problem, they wanted you to write the 8 equations for this math mountain right here. Okay, so I did it just like I did above. I took the answer for the problems and I put it on the left side of the equation. Okay, this may be a little bit more difficult for you to do. If it's easier to start off like this, then by all means start off like this, okay? So it's either or, and obviously this could be here and then this could be here, but that's why there's going to be 8 different equations in this fact family versus just 4, because on one of them, they want you to have your answer to the problem first, okay? Or your total here, and then this is called an answer. All right, so remember on your math mountains, if you take your total and you subtract this number, it's going to equal the other number. Same here. If you subtract these two, it's going to equal this third number here. And then remember, when we add these in the middle, that's when they equal that total there. Okay, so for these sentences, you should have 140, which is a total. They wanted you to label these. That's our total. 140 equals 80 plus 60. Those are the two add-ins. Now you take your total and you flip-flop that 80 and 60. So that's commutative property. Remember that? So you're just switching those two around, but it's still going to equal the same exact total. Okay, now we're going to get into some answers. So to get 60, if you have these 3 numbers, to come up with an answer of 60, you would have to have your total, 140, subtracting 80. Okay, so this total subtracting this addend. Okay, then on this one, to get 80 for a result, you would have to take the total of 140 and subtract the addend of 60. Okay, and then over here, these are just how we normally think about writing an equation. And mom and dad are going to be used to seeing the equal sign on the right side. You're going to have to teach them that it can go on the left side to start your equation, because the equation is like a balance beam, right? Or a scale. They have to balance each other out. 140 over here has to equal 140 over here, and 60 and 80 do equal 140. Okay, so that's this page, and we turn it over here. We get into some word problems. I want to try to cover up what I did already. Chris's group picked 80 apples. His mother's group picked 60 more. So what I did was I drew Chris, I put Chris here, and I drew 8 quick tens, and I did them in that format, just like in a, what do we call that? I forgot what like a 10 frame, excuse me, like 5 here and 3 below. So these are the quick tens, so that's 80. And then it says mom picked 60 more. So then I did mom over here, and I drew 5 quick tens and 1. And then remember, that is just like showing the work. Then I went and read what the question was. How many apples do they have now? So they're wanting you to combine these. That's what that means. If they want to know what she has or what he has, Chris could be a boy or a girl's name. And then what mom has, and they want to know the total together. So I took 8 quick tens and 2 more quick tens, and I bundled them to make my 100. And then I had 40 left. So I know that I'm going to have 80 plus 60 is 140. And then I went ahead and showed that in a math mountain too. So 80 and 60 are the add-ins, and the total is going to be 140. So that's what I did there. All right, so if I look here, it says Chris's group had 140 apples. They ate 80 of them. Okay, so remember, boys and girls, if you have 4 cookies and you're eating 2 of them, that's a subtraction problem, right? Because you're taking some away. So if you're eating some, you're taking it away. How many apples do they have now? So these are the same numbers as up here, boys and girls. So the total was 140, and they ate 80 of them. They have to have 60. And if you don't believe me, If you are having a struggle with that, which is fine, what you should do is draw 14 quick tens. So I'm going to do that really quick here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So they have 140. And the reason I didn't use 100 boys and girls is I didn't want to have to break it apart to borrow. All right, so if we take 80 of those away, here's 4, and here's 4, and what do you have left? 6 of those, okay? So if you need to draw pictures for yourself, I highly recommend that, boys and girls. I'm a total visual thinker, and having the picture there is super helpful, even though we're talking about the same numbers, okay? It is super helpful to have that picture. All right, putting together and taking apart. Allison's class bought 70 juice boxes. So I just had written over here A70 for Allison. And Taylor bought 50 juice boxes, and I put a T for 50. And they want to know how many they brought all together. Okay, so then I drew my little math mountain. And then what I did over here is I went ahead and drew out 7 quick tens for Allison, and then 5 more quick tens, which is 50 for Taylor. And then I went ahead and combined them because they wanted to know how many all together. So I took this 5 and this 5 and made 100. So I have 100 and then 2 quick tens left. That's 120 for my total. All right, next problem said there are 120 juice boxes at the picnic. So that's our total. I drew that there. Allison put 70 on tables. So I put Allison and 70 on the tables. And then it said the rest are in a cooler. How many are in the cooler? So I put R in the cooler. So boys and girls, these are the same numbers above, right? So if she had 120, and I went ahead and drew that with quick tens, I didn't do 100. I didn't want to break it apart. So I do 5, 10, 11, 12 quick tens, right? That's 120. If you're counting by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and 20, okay? And if she went ahead and put 70 of those on the picnic tables, and she put the rest in a cooler to stay cold, how many did she leave on that cooler? Right there, 50. So to write an equation for that, we would have our total of 120 taking away 70, which is an addend, and that leaves us with 50 in the cooler. Okay? That's how you do that. All right, on to your next page. It says to represent the word problems with math tools, in other words, like math mountains, okay? The equations and math mountains below show the word problems on page 274. In other words, they show these problems right here. So you're going to need to have this paper kind of out to the side, boys and girls, so that you can be referring to it, because that's what this talks about. Okay? So if Chris's group had 80 and Mom's group had 60, what was the total? Well, you can refer back to problem number 3. Remember, Chris had 80, Mom had 60. What was their total? It was 140. So you're going to transfer that answer here. This is our total, okay? And you're going to put the total there in the top of the math mountain. Now that's when you combine the two addends, okay? Now they're going to want you to take from them. Just like on number 4, Chris had 140 apples, and then they ate 80 of them. So they took away 80. How many did they have now? And if you look here, remember I drew out my 140 with quick tens, and I subtracted away 80 of them, and that left me with 6 quick tens. You don't even need to refer to that because you can look over here and see that when you have 140 and the number 80, the missing addend would be 60 for your Math Mountain. And that is the answer. You look over on problem number 4 on the other page, page 274, you'll see that. All right, the put together, take apart. Allison's class had 70 juice boxes. Tay-Tay's class had 50. How many did they bring all together? And when we looked at this over here, the sum or the total was 120. So 120 is our total. Okay? Now, on the next problem, they were taking apart. They started with the total of 120 juice boxes. Allison set 70 of them on tables, and the rest were in the cooler. Okay, so that was 50 in the cooler. So 50 would be this number that is missing here 3 times. Okay, we did write the unknown numbers in the boxes. Check, we did that. How are the math tools the same? How are they different? How is the Math Mountain the same? And how are these little put together, take apart problems different? So how is this right here, I guess would be the addition one, right? How is that the same as this? How are they different? So the answers for that will vary. Hopefully you're going to mention that they're related facts, right? They're related facts. When you take one addend and you add the other addend, you get your sum or your total, okay? All right, down here it wants you to write a word problem for this equation and then solve it. I think you know what my word equation would be. First of all, I'm going to solve it. I'm going to draw my 100, and I'm just going to draw quick tens because I know I'm probably going to have to regroup, and I don't want to. So there's 5, there's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so if I have, wait, that's 4. That's 5. There we go. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, 5. I'm not doing this very accurately. Okay, let me slow down and model the correct way. Remember, they have to line up or it won't work. Okay, so I'm 100% positive I did that correctly because I took my time. All right, so if I have, oh, it's only 110, excuse me. If I have 110 and I subtract out 40, so I'm going to subtract out this quick 10 and then 30 more. So what does that leave you with, right? It leaves you with 70. So now it just wants you to make a story problem. Okay, Mrs. Bartell had 110 cookies. She ate 40 cookies. How many cookies were left? And the answer would be 70. So maybe some of you are going to write about you had 110 Pokemon cards and you gave away 40 of them. How many do you have left? Okay, you're going to pick your favorite thing to talk about and make that your 110, right? You had 110 kitty cats and 40 of them you adopted out. How many kitty cats were left? Okay, I can just imagine some of you doing that. I know several of you are going to be writing about horses. I just am positive about that. And you're going to talk about how there were 110 horses on the farm. And you rounded up 40 of the horses and put them in a corral. How many horses were still remaining outside of the corral? And you're going to say that was 70. I can just envision those conversations that we would normally have in our classroom. I love those story problems that you guys come up with. Okay, so now we're going to get into the part of our math lesson where we discuss what an expression is and what an equation is, okay? Expressions are just the first part of like a math story. So let me give you an example. Mia had 70 horses. She decided to buy 40 more horses. So that would be 70 plus 40. That would be the expression piece where we're going to combine some numbers. There's no equal sign in an expression. Equations now are made up of two quantities, okay? So that would be where she had the 70 plus the 40, and we would need to come up with a total, okay? So equations have equal signs, all right? So this shows not equal to, by the way. In other words, 4 plus 2 does not equal 8, right? It equals 6, okay? So that is a symbol that you're going to want to get used to in math that will come up over and over again, especially in like 5th grade and 6th grade math for sure. They want us to use the equal sign to write 4 equations, and they want us to vary how many numbers we have on each side of the equation. So I'm just thinking of some numbers, and I want to use friendly numbers like they did up here, boys and girls, because I don't want to have to stretch myself too much right now, and I don't want to be worrying about big numbers, okay? I'm going to do kind of like what they used, single numbers, okay? Now, those of you that know me, I think you know my favorite number is 16, so I'm going to use that number, okay? And I'm going to say that that equals 8 plus 8. Now, I'm going to use that same number, but I'm going to use more than 2 addends in my equation. So I'm going to say that 8 plus 2 plus 6 equals 16. Okay, see how I broke one of my 8s into 2 and 6? So I'm going to use that. Let's see, what else could I do? Oh, I know what I could do. I could say 18 minus 2 equals 14 plus 4. Or no, 14 plus 2, excuse me. I want these to be 16. See how this is 16 and this is 16? Okay. I could also say, trying to think. Oh, I know one. There we go. 8 times 2 is the same thing, which is 16, is the same thing as 4 plus 4 times 2. So you get to be creative on how you write your 4 equations, okay? Do you see how I varied the number I had on each side of my equation? So I made that a little bit different. Now they want you to make some equations using the symbol is not equal to, okay? And they also want you to vary. So to make my life super easy, I am going to take similar problems from up here and apply them down here, but I'm going to change a number. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my favorite number. I love that number. I'm going to use 8. Now I'm going to use a number that is not going to make it add up to 16. Do you see 16 here? This is not 16. So I'm going to have to use this symbol right here. They are not equal to each other. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use one of these here. And I think I will say 17 minus 2 does not equal 14 plus 2. So do you see how I changed one of my numbers to make my life easy? I only changed one. So here I'll say 7 times 2 does not equal 4 plus 4 times 2. And then I would need to come up with one more. All right, boys and girls, on this next part, you are making the number sentences true. Think to yourself what number you need to add to 90 to get to 160. Now, if you don't know that, my recommendation would be to draw out 9 quick tens and figure out how many quick tens you need to add to it to get to 160. Or another way you could solve that is you could start with a number 90 and count by tens until you get to 160 and make little tally marks and figure out how you got there. Okay? But think to yourself, what do you add to 90 to get to 100? That's 10. And then you would just need 60 more. So 10 and 60 is 70. So that's how I'm going to get that answer. Okay, here we go. 30 plus something is not 120. Well, guess what? 30 and 30 certainly is not 120. That's 60. You can use any number here as long as when you combine these two add-ins, it does not equal the total of 120. So there's a lot of choice in the answers that you might be putting down, boys and girls. All right, 70 and 20 on this side of the equation. So 70 and 20, I know for a fact, is 90. This side already has 20, and they have to equal each other. What do I need to put for this? Look at here, boys and girls. This addend plus this addend equal this total. You already have the 20. What other addend equal, when you add it to 20, will make it equal 90? There's only one it could be. It's right there, 70. Okay, 150 minus something is 70. I know that when I have 7 and 7, that's 14. So if I have 70 plus 70, that's 140. That's still not enough. I need to get to 150. 140 is 10 away from 150, so that's going to be, hopefully you guessed it, 80. If you don't know that, you could come over here and write your 150 and subtract out the 70. Okay, you could do it that way. You could also start with 70 and count up until you get to 150, making tally marks, counting by tens, right? These are all multiples of 10 here. Okay. All right, 16. Something does not equal 140 minus 70. Well, that could be a lot of different numbers, boys and girls. Think about what 140 minus 70 is, right? 14 take away 7, right? That's 7. So 70 and 70 is 140. So you can use any number you want here as long as it's not 70. You could use the number 1, okay? You can use a lot of different numbers. You just can't use the number 70. All right, over here. Ooh, I'm looking at two sides of an equation. So this right here, 60 minus 20, that's 40. So this side over here cannot be 40 because this tells you it cannot equal 40. So I'm going to do that 10, 10, 10 because guess what? That's 30. That's pretty simple. All right, so down here, boys and girls, you're writing an equal sign or you're going to say it's not equal to be able to make the number sentence true. Think to yourself what 80 and 20 is. That's 100. And if you add 40 more, you have 140. Okay, so this side is 140. Think about what this side is. 90 and 50. 9 and 5 is 14. So this is 140 as well. So if this side is 140 and this side is 140, you can say that they are equal to each other. Okay? Over here, we have 80 on one side. And let's look at what we're going to have on this side. 60 take away 20. Think about what 6 take away 2 is. Okay, that's going to be 40. So if you have 80 here and 40 here, are those equal to each other? Does 80 equal 40? Hopefully you're realizing, nope, it does not. All right, over here, we have 40 and 30. If you add these two up, you get 70. On this side of the equation, you have 70. Are these two equal to each other? Yep, they are. All right, boys and girls, that's the end of our math lesson for today. Bye.